For the last proof on the first page, we know that AB is equal to BC, so these two are equal, and BC is equal to BD, so these two are equal. Our goal is to prove that B is the midpoint of AD. In order to do that, we have to show that these segments here are equal. We know our givens, we always write those first, and if we put these two statements together, we see that we have two things equal to the same thing. They're both equal to BC, and that would be your transitive property. That's how we're able to figure out that AB is equal to BD. Since these segments are equal, that means that we have a midpoint, and whenever you have a word in your statements column, 99% of the time, the definition of that word has to be the reason to match it. Now, on the back, we have a few more proofs that are going to use more vocabulary. So on the back, the first one we have that angles 1 and 2 are supplementary. If you don't have that angle 1 and 3 are equal, you need to add that or else the proof isn't going to make much sense. So first we know that we have 1 and 2 are supplementary. That's given. We are also going to know that this is going to be our other given, and I'll fill that in now as angle 1 is equal to angle 3. The reason that we know that angle 1 plus angle 2 is equal to 180 is that's the definition of supplementary. You wouldn't be able to have anything else there because if you look at the diagrams that you're given, you don't have any linear pairs or straight lines, so that's why it has to be supplementary. Also because in the line above it, you have that word. So anytime you have a word, you have to use the definition. So now we know that angle 1 and 3 are equal. That was our other given. And our hint now is that we're substituting. So these are the two lines we have, and the only thing that they have the same is this angle 1. So I can take out the angle 1 in this equation and plug in the angle 3. And that's where this next line, angle 3 plus angle 2 is equal to 180 comes from, and that's substitution. The last line is the definition of supplementary, which means we have to state that our angles are supplementary, which is what we are trying to prove. So I showed that they are equal to 180, and that is the definition. So angle 3 and 2 are supplementary. In the next one, we have our given. We know 2 and 3 are equal, and that's it. That's the only thing that they gave us. If we look at the picture, though, hopefully that would help. It looks like there could be some vertical angles, but those aren't numbered. And here it tells me that angle 1 plus angle 2 is equal to 180. So if I look at this diagram, I have to kind of ask myself, well, why and how could that be? And when I look at the diagram, I see that I have a linear pair or a straight line. And it would be okay to have either of those answers there. In the next line, I'm looking at how did these two lines change, and what changed was this angle 2 became an angle 3, which is very similar to the previous problem. So what happened was I knew 2 and 3 were equal, so I got rid of angle 2 and I replaced it, or I substituted that angle 2 with angle 3. And the goal is to show that they're supplementary, which means we need to show they're equal to 180, which we did here. So now 1 and 3 are supplementary. And that is your definition of supplementary. For the third example, we have angle BAC as a right angle, and 2 and 3 are equal. So we can start off with our givens. We know we have a right angle, and the other given they gave us, which was angle 2 is equal to angle 3, so that reason has to be given. Here we're using our definition of right angle as our reason, so somewhere I'm going to have to state what that means, and I know we're talking about angle BAC. And to be a right angle means you have to equal 90 degrees. So that's your definition of right angle. Here I'm telling you that angle 1 plus angle 2 is equal to angle BAC. So you're asking yourself, all right, so here's the first angle plus the second angle. That equals the whole angle. And I'm adding angles together to get the whole thing. So that would be the angle addition. postulate. Now I have to use substitution. What I'm going to be substituting here is going to be that we know angle 2 and 3 are equal. So angle 1 plus angle 3 has to equal angle BAC. And these two lines could have been interchanged. It wouldn't have made a difference in the proof. It says now that I'm using the transitive, so I need two things that are equal to the same thing. So those two things would be this BAC. So this line and this line are going to come together to tell me that angle 1 plus angle 3 is equal to 90 degrees. And that is your definition of complementary. So angle 1 plus angle 3, and angle 1 and angle 3 are complementary. And again, these two lines, it wouldn't have made a difference the order, but because they asked for substitution, that's why I changed out this angle 2